Not looking over your head. We've got Ariana Friedlander of Roosevelt Consulting. And her fun fact for today is that her primary mode of transportation through New Zealand was hitchhiking. And she survived to tell about it.
The fun thing about hitchhiking is you get to decide who you take a ride from. Yeah. And I reject a few rides. How do I do the whole,
we need to get you into the meetup or into the Zoom meeting.
Oh, is that what I need to do?
Sorry, you should.
I just assumed I was gonna plug in.
I showed up and just got the meeting rolling. You were supposed to do everything
very
else.
doable.
Like everything.
I just have to remember to mute myself upon
I
entry.
know, I do too. We do
There-
everything.
They're missing Chris upstairs this morning.
That brings us back to this.
Yeah.
Recording.
I'm muted. Do I need to turn this down? There we go.
Should be able to take control.
You still hear how
Like
you're
you
Chris?
think of all the AI that they could just like.
I am
auto
in
mute
control
the, like, audio.
for once in my life.
Great
Save us
success.
all.
Kind of. And now I need to get into like the correct screen to share. Here. Wait, I just want to present. Wrong button. Good morning.
Morning.
How's everyone doing?
Great.
It's good to see you all. Glad to be here this morning, although a little bit sweaty, I will admit. Who was here when I presented in February? I know that there's a few familiar faces. If you were here, you may or may not recall this feedback I received. I'm a dynamic presenter, and I want to buy whatever it is you do, but I don't know what. That second part, I don't know what you do, has been feedback I've been hearing for years in my business. Side note, Roosevelt Consulting is 11 and a half years old. So for 11 years hearing, I don't know what you do, is kind of like, seriously. So I really set a vision for myself of, I'm gonna deal with this. Like by the end of 2022, people are gonna get what I do. I'm gonna let go of all the limiting beliefs I have that make it impossible for me to address that thing. So my questions for you here today are, do you understand what I do? Are there ways I could make my message more clear? Keep in mind, like, we gotta have like, the succinct message. Like I can always provide tons more information, but I wanna keep it succinct. And then the third piece, I wanna set a little context for you with this who do you know one, which is that earlier this year, some of you know, I was going through some medical stuff and we had some things go into disrepair in our house. So it was really stressful to have stuff in our house in disrepair and be dealing with all this medical stuff and not know who's gonna fix it. And so when our neighbor could recommend a handy ma'am, yes, handy ma'am, it just like relieved my stress a ton because I just didn't have to worry about getting that stuff repaired in my house. And it's the same thing when you can recommend to leaders a facilitator that's gonna help their team collaborate more effectively and bring them together to break down barriers. And that is what I'm here to offer. Co-creating retreat experiences. These are bespoke retreats for collaborative teams. So everything is totally customized. And the way I work is to bring the teams along in the process of co-creating the retreat experience. And we do that using the neuroscience of conversation. So it's super fun. But before I tell you a little bit more about that, I'm curious, who here has ever struggled to work with a colleague? Yeah. Oh, wow. Amazing.
No.
Oh, okay. So, right, like maybe there's been miscommunication, misunderstandings. You feel like anytime you go to them, they just shoot down your ideas. They say they're going to do something, they don't follow through. I'm sure we can add to this list of ways that it can be difficult to work with a colleague. I wonder too, who you might have turned to when that struggle has been present for you. There might have been a friend, a coworker, a mentor, a coach. What I find for my clients is that it's them. That the leaders and managers I work with are playing intermediary between people on their team or across teams that are having trouble working together. And it's just costing them a lot of time and energy and lost opportunities because they're wasting their time trying to mediate between these conflicts when what they really want is for their team members to work together more effectively. And that's what I've experienced in a number of instances with my clients. And one in particular that I had the pleasure of working with a few months ago is a tech company that was shifting in the last few years into agile development. And the product team and the engineering team, they kind of need to work well together, but they didn't know how to really communicate. So the VPs were like constantly playing intermediary here. And they've had this vision of bringing both the teams together so that they could pave the foundation for actually working together. And the co-creating retreat experience was the perfect solution for them because we are one retreat that does it all. So we marry strategic planning, professional development, and team building. So we're addressing the primary areas of concern that need to be elevated in a retreat all at once. We're doing actual problem solving, no role playing going on here. And we're using the neuroscience of conversation to provide the tools so that teams can communicate more effectively, while also removing those limitations that are causing them to go to the VP instead of to their colleague. And what happens is like this lost time, lost opportunity of that escalation that occurs. And so what happened as a result? Well, Stephanie is here to tell us. Well, I mean, she's technically in Poland right now, but she provided this lovely testimonial, how the retreat broke down barriers and equipped the team to work together more collaboratively to identify and solve problems without escalation, AKA she can focus on the work that she's got to do to move the company forward and bringing new technology to the market without having to be the intermediary playing like back and forth. And as a result, they're actually able to embody their values. They're walking their talk. They're able to empower their team to make decisions. They're decentralizing decision making. And people are able to like connect around, hey, we have this opportunity or this challenge with this firmware. What are we going to do about it? And they solve it without it going all the way up and back down. So that's pretty cool to see that kind of result. And there's been some other amazing results from co-creating retreat experiences. So the one I just shared is kind of that process improvement that saves money and improves morale. And then there's also the new multi-million-dollar contracts that clients have gotten as a result of co-creating retreat experiences, some of which are actually at CSU. And then the award-winning innovations brought to market as a result of co-creating retreat experiences. So pretty awesome. And I think I'm at my time. So my question.
Do you want to facilitate your own, or would you like me to facilitate? I always feel like I'm doing this with you, like.
I'm fine either way, but I wonder if I could record my feedback.
Go right ahead, my dear.
I just have to find that app on my phone. So wow, thanks for Old Firehouse Books. How interesting.
Eric wants to kick us off.
I'll kick us off. Always like amazing presentation. I love hearing you speak. I could just listen to you. You're incredibly entertaining. I did get an idea of what you do, but I still think you can make it sharper and crisper because it seems like you're trying to hold on to this. We help the entire team collaborate, but what it felt like the real pain points you were solving was the cross collaboration. So maybe focus even further on that and just have one line that's stating that, because you're still mixing a lot of creative words to say it versus just saying, improve cross-team collaboration, done, like straightforward. And then the one retreat was more the how, not the what. Because I think if you're looking at those problems, I've been in big companies where massive challenges between the different teams, because it's easier to create collaboration within your own specific team, but then leader to leader, I think is what you're getting at. So I think it'd just be really straightforward that way.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Your story about how you helped those two teams get together was absolutely wonderful. The quote you had up there was TLDR. I just couldn't even focus on it. It was too many words. So if you could find a phrase out there that would hit us, that way we could, because otherwise I'm reading that and I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And she used a lot of words that I was like,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah, it's too highlighted.
it's too
Jumbo,
much. It was
jumbo.
too many things coming in at one time. I see her in the corner. It's like, okay, I'll just look at her because I have no idea.
Is there, from this quote, I wonder, is there something that you're like, oh, this is what you would.
The first
pull out?
sentence.
The
All you
first
need is
sentence,
that first
yeah.
sentence.
That's what I was
That's right.
thinking too.
Yeah, broke down barriers.
You could even,
Don't say
I
where
would
or
stop
who
at
broke
words.
down barriers.
And I would highlight, so if you just had that one sentence and then highlight the key words, broke down like you make them bold or something. Broke down barriers,
Work
work together
together.
collaborative, solve problems, done.
And you don't need to show a picture of her because that's not what's important. Maybe you got a picture of happy people or something like that, something that shows the same energy that you achieved, not who said it.
You.
The
And I
one
don't know your
thing,
names, otherwise I would have said them. So, go ahead.
the one thing that I was looking for was what makes you different, because there's gazillion different companies in the space, right? And
Yeah.
so almost all of us who've been in any kind of corporate environment knows at least two or three of them. And so then the key question is, why you? I mean, you identify the compelling value of going to these retreats, and you did a very good job of doing that.
Hmm.
But what makes you different?
So I wonder if one of the things, and this is where I, for myself too, am in that place of when you disparage your competitors, it kind of lowers your perception, right? So I didn't want to do that. One of the things I had practiced saying but didn't share today was that an underlying value with the co-creating retreat experience is that your teams are already great people with really valuable insight and wisdom. And so my job as the facilitator isn't to impart and like tell you what to do, but to harness that collective wisdom.
I hate to tell you, but there's a
In
lot of companies with problems because they don't have too much wisdom, more like all that stuff. So,
And those aren't the companies I want to work with.
okay, so the point is that
Yeah.
again, describing how, and you don't have to disparage people. You can say, you can acknowledge that this is a crowded space, and this is what makes us different.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. And because we're different, we create these compelling values that
Mhm.
are kind of unique to us, you know.
Right.
But some reason apart from, oh, I want to have a retreat with my people, that's, number one, if you don't want to do it, doesn't make any difference. But then number two, now that I want to do it, who do I pick
Yeah.
and why?
And that's the people I'm targeting.
And that, I think, is where you can make a difference in terms of differentiating yourself and yourselves from everybody else. So that there's an opportunity there, I think, for you to
Yeah.
do that succinctly.
Thanks,
Ozzy, I'm Ben.
Ben. Thank you. You did say that earlier.
It's all good. There's a few people in the room. I don't expect you to remember. I hate following Ozzy's feedback because invariably he always says something a point that I want to make. So, thanks, Ozzy.
Great
No,
minds.
they still
Ditto.
go like that.
I know, right?
Ditto.
I wanna echo that in the fact that I didn't get any kind of like point of differentiation for you. You asked, do I know what you do? I have an idea of what you do, but I think there's opportunity for more clarity. Like you're definitely like come across as someone who wants to facilitate and help people work more successfully together, but your path and your story was kind of just like all over the place for me. I want a more clear line of this is who I am, this is what I do. And then if you can you give me the results slide? Because I think this is something that's underutilized
Wrong
in
way.
your presentation. I want you to spend more time on this
Mhm.
and talking about this is what happens when you work with me. If you choose to work with me, these are the potentials, the things that you can expect, the outcomes that you can expect.
Mhm.
I heard you use a couple of times the neuroscience of conversation. That's kind of a floof term, an ambiguous term, unless it's actually like if there's like something specific about it. But
Oh, yeah, there is.
so I don't know. It just you brought it up a couple times, but it didn't really give me personally. I don't know what the neuroscience of conversation
Sure.
is, so it's not necessarily something that's impactful for me in your presentation.
Sure.
And then the last thing I would say is I don't know who your customer is.
Okay.
So it may be something beneficial to put in there if you're, who you're targeting or, whether it's certain organizations, certain verticals, whatever, like it's very ambiguous, which makes it hard to frame for me, knowing what you do if I don't know who you're trying to serve.
Yes. All right. And then
Yeah.
back here.
I have one suggestion.
Okay.
You are a very engaging speaker, but I think there's something that you could use that would really make your points really powerful, and that is the use of silence or just quietness as a contrast to talking.
Oh, yes. I normally do when I don't feel the pressure of 6 minutes.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
That will force you to then highlight what it is you
Right.
really want to say instead of putting words in. So just,
That's fair.
and I think that would really add a lot of power to your presentation.
Totally fair. And then behind you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jessie. I think you asked the very smart questions. Have you ever struggled working with a colleague? Because that's a universal problem. Every company, even every family have that. I think very good to ask. And then everybody will think, is there strategy can solve that? I think that's a really good point. You can present your company and to be a bridge to fill the gap. But then you said the 3 circles like that. I hope that you can more clear to bring the result. Like you just said, the strategic planning and team building. Those kind of just word, no action.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope you have action. How you do that?
Sure.
And then your result, like a testimony about that. I hope you can show, not just say, and show the result, what before and after, even have numbers, give people a clear image in their mind. So they're more show you a powerful consultant or retreat. Yeah.
So I actually did have my hand up and
I know, I was gonna say, Rich, thank
I'm
you.
taking my space
You
just
did
because it.
skip Rich.
Yeah, no, Rich was nice.
And there are
Okay.
two people.
Oh, I can't see that.
Yeah.
Oh,
We only have a couple minutes, so keep it quick.
Rich, Leanne, and then online.
okay. The neuroscience of communication.
Yeah,
You said what it wasn't role playing.
yeah.
What does that look like? And really, what impact does that make? And you also said like, it's kind of like a co-creation
Yeah.
of these
Yeah.
retreats.
Right.
So what does that look like? Are you choosing the venues? Do you have a specific venues? How are you co-creating this with your clients?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
my feedback, just because I'm facilitating the time, I'm gonna say not to answer Rich's, but with what Jesse's saying of like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Rich is getting into the how, and that's exactly what I'm gonna tell you not to talk about. Is like, if you think about it of Pain Island, have you struggled with a colleague?
Yeah.
Get you to Pleasure Island, harmonious, and then you can have improvements that save money and improve morale. You can have new multi-million-dollar contracts, and you can have award-winning innovations. That's the Pleasure Island that you're providing. And what you're telling us, what Rich is asking about, is he's like, so what's the motor on the boat that you're using to take us from Pain Island to Pleasure Island? And nobody actually cares about that. Like, they don't care about the motor on your boat that's taking us there. We want to know, hey, this is where I'm stuck. Kind of like, you didn't care how your handyman fixed your problems. You just wanted them fixed. So
Can I ask a quick question on that one in terms of the how? Does like getting people, your team to think, talk, and act differently explain that? Or is that still?
that's
too
the
big?
how, that's the that's the boat.
That's still.
Yeah.
Or the what?
So James, bring us home quickly.
I'm going to get all designery on you because I think it helps drive your point home. Just think about the hierarchy of what's on the screen. And a lot of people forget that they're the star, not what's on the screen. But if you just have one word or 2 words that says what your point is, like process improvements, $1 million contracts, innovation, that's all that needs to be said, and then talk around those points.
Take it
Excellent.
from Mike
All right.
too, or?
He doesn't actually have his
A
hand up.
bug
It's
or
a
two,
weird
yeah.
Oh,
thing that we have going on
Just
here. So
waiting.
thank you so much, Ariana. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to see you. All right, go ahead and grab your second cup of
Tell you
coffee.
what to
We'll
meet
get
on
our
Friday.
next presenter set up.
Sharpen my glasses, bit of an asshole.
Okay, Jenny, time to sit back down.
Next time you go first.
Didn't even get on yet. That was my point.
Yeah, where do you wanna meet?
Go with
She's
me
still
until I
got
say
2 minutes to
it's
go.
I know. I have to finish it first.
You're up. I was in first before.
Did you just let me off?
I apologize. That's true.
I'm taking notes.
Right, that's what's preventing me.
Oh, no, I, it's kind of like the last.
One thing in the mouth at a time. You're not supposed to. Well. How was session yesterday? Yeah, I will upload it so you can watch it. I'm so frustrated. Jenny, go get your coffee. Jenny, go. There's a whole line. By the time you get there. I can sit down quietly. I'll just so quiet today that I'm like, I don't know what you did to them, Ariana. Like,
Right.
Sit while you're.
Wheel up.
normally I have to yell at
Oh
them
my
to go
God,
sit
it was
down and it's
overwhelming.
like.
Overwhelming.
I think 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
I'm mesmerized.
They are, they're still thinking.
It's that hypnotic, like, tone that people didn't realize actually have in the background. Like, you know that from like The Simpsons, drama or one of them. It's like the
Well, I was
hypno-
laughing because I had a look inside and you kind of looked at me when I sighed, but I realized that I was tensing up because I was like, I'm like, wait, this is Ariana's job. I don't have to do this because I was thinking about how stressful it would be to try to have that.
Oh, to get the feedback?
No,
Oh,
to facilitate,
what I do?
yes.
Oh.
Like I was
You're
having
really
the sense
stressing
that
about the
like
job
I
I do.
needed to do it. And then I had that moment of like, wait, no, this is not my specialty. This is what Ariana's good at. And I don't have to do that because I was like, I feel like I should. All right,
I'm sitting so you can yell at people not sitting
Jenny.
down.
Jenny, Peter, stop talking to Jenny so she'll sit down.
Someday I'm gonna be the facilitator.
I know, and I won't be here. Because you only facilitate when I'm not here.
I know.
Yell at herself.
I don't know. You let me know how it goes.
I don't drink coffee.
So just add
Stand
something that suits you.
All right, we've got our next presenter. We've got Jim Frucci from CSU Institute for Entrepreneurship. And his fun fact is that he hiked Long's Peak, which means that you have to start at like ridiculous hours of the morning and it takes all day. And he's here to tell about it too. Like all these people surviving all these things. So Jim, do you want to leave time for Q&A? Because he's filling in. So we had somebody else, he's filling in, he's gonna tell us about stuff. So if you start losing your attention span at 6 minutes, he's got more time.
I thought it was 17 minutes was the lull factor, right?
Well, but in here,
17
we're
minutes long.
trained for 6 minutes, so
I
at
see,
7,
I see.
people
So
start tuning out.
This is an advanced crowd.
So do you want some time for Q&A?
Sure, yeah, and
Okay.
if anybody has any questions, I mean, I'll be brief, just introducing, what Ben had said. So we are, moving this group to a space on CSU campus, right? So, just wanted to take a brief moment and describe where the location is. So it's, the address is 638 South Sherwood. And on CSU campus, it is right on the corner of Laurel and Sherwood. We are in the Rockwell Hall North. Used to be a sorority house and is now the home of the Institute for Entrepreneurship. So anyway, just a couple of those fun facts. So we'll be in what's called the Venture Lounge, which is on the main floor. And it is a meeting space for between 20 and 50 individuals, and has much of the technology here to allow you for
for hybrid virtual meetings and that type of thing. So just wanted to introduce that in terms of where you're moving. As of January 4th, right, is your first meeting, so. And secondly, just wanted to take a moment to introduce the Institute for Entrepreneurship, again, which is housed in North Rockwell on CSU campus. A little bit of a, I guess, a serendipitous moment because the Institute for Entrepreneurship has a huge overlap of mission with 1 Million Cups, which is really pretty exciting. So the Institute for Entrepreneurship has existed for a few years and exists really to provide education, tools, resources for new ventures and for entrepreneurs. And as we all know, entrepreneurship has really rocketed, through since the pandemic and has continued to rocket up and to the right. So we're excited in terms of our space, and I'll walk through just a couple of the programs that the Institute offers coming up in 2023 and has offered, through the pandemic they've been very popular. That some of these you may have heard about, I don't know. So they were traditionally geared towards students who were interested in starting ventures or entrepreneurship track. But we've opened it up to the community, and again, we've had some exciting results. So again, I'm glad to answer any questions as we move through it. But you see, again, a huge overlap with the mission of 1 Million Cups, empowering great ideas, ensure that innovations, flourish and move forward. We leverage entrepreneurship as a vehicle to develop mindsets, skill sets, and again, it is a strong focus and a growing focus for Colorado State University. So this is the team. So Scott Schrake is the executive director of the Institute for Entrepreneurship. Many of you may know Scott, I don't know. I'm a program manager on his team. We have a lot of different ventures, a lot of different activities going on within the Institute. We have K through 12 activities, which are focused on business education for K through 12 students. We have, venture development, mentoring, as I said, tools and resources for entrepreneurs and new ventures. We've got Jeff up and to the right there has joined us from the CSU Energy Institute. So a lot of different activities going on. I'm a program manager managing multiple programs within the Institute, but also responsible for community engagement with Fort Collins community and local communities. So this is, in a nutshell, just a brief overview of some of the things that we have coming up. So we have a venture validator 1.0, 2.0 coming up, as you can see, in 2023. The main focus of this is to take individuals from beginning to end through a venture, through customer discovery, through business model generation, through prototyping, and it's been very, very popular. And again, we have students, we have community members, and the nice thing is it's absolutely free, which is a real plus. So we have different levels of venture validation. Many of you know about the Founded in FOCO, which formerly was Fort Collins Startup Week. Again, a focus on individuals who are starting ventures, all about focus on education, focus on tools, resources, mentoring. We also have the Venture Accelerator, which is specifically for CSU students. I manage what's called the Veterinary Management Institute, which is for veterinarians, hospital owners, clinicians, individuals who are interested in balancing their work in the science area with business. So we focus on everything from supply chain to leadership to team dynamics, digital marketing techniques. So we focus on a way to basically, advance some of these veterinary skills and complement them with business skills. I also run the Global Business Academy, which is for high school students. It's international. high school students from freshmen to seniors. And that'll be happening every summer. And again, focus on business education for high school students. And we actually do a lot of entrepreneurship techniques and kind of venture types of activities during that program as well. So a little bit of just an overview of some of the programming that's going on, very entrepreneurship, venture focused. The validator, as I mentioned, we have coaches and mentors that do the instruction. Then, as you can see, they walk through the process of really creating a venture or walking through a venture that you have in mind. So you do customer discovery, market research, create a business model, you do competitive analysis, you create a prototype, and then you do a final pitch to the audience and a possible launch of a venture, which can happen in the next Validator 2.0. It's heavily interactive, tools, resources, guidance, mentoring, and again, it's a way to jumpstart to get your venture to market. A lot of you, I'm sure, have been through these phases to get your venture started, but for individuals who are less accomplished or less knowledgeable about the process, we take them all the way through it. They walk through it, and it's great. We also have what's basically in April coming up. We actually have $10,000 in cash prizes that we do provide for student entrepreneurs. They provide a pitch. It's a great workshop that they pitch, and then the winners get basically some venture capital to hopefully advance their idea into the marketplace. So that's again very popular. We usually get dozens and dozens of applicants, and we have to narrow it down to the top 10 to provide a pitch, and then we have judges that decide on where the cash prizes go. So, and that's really it. I just wanted to provide that overview of the Institute. So you're coming to us in January. January 4th will be your first meeting, and we look forward to having you there. Hopefully we'll have some coffee as good as this coffee is, and everything that you need to to run your meetings successfully and efficiently. So that's all I had, just a brief pitch. And if you have any questions or comments, I'll be glad to entertain those. Or from the virtual audience.
Keep it right around the 7-minute mark. Like it was.
Awesome. Nice.
All
Any
right.
questions?
Yeah, I got one question. I got a good overview of the programs, but curious if someone's in the community, not a student, is there other ways that we could get involved or be a part of any of those? Because I didn't get.
Yeah, that's a great question. And so I'm putting together a portal for the community, to basically enter into CSU and all the, the happenings that they can get involved in. Becoming a mentor, I guess this audience would be exceptional mentors for students, and for, some of the individuals who are, wanting to start their own ventures or looking at entrepreneurship. So yes, and you have my contact information, or you will, and please get a hold of me if you're interested in any particular avenue of participation, and we'd love to have you on board and get you involved. Because again, this knowledge base, this brain power is exactly what we're looking for to engage for the Institute. So yeah, good question, and thank you for that. Yes.
Is I3 connected with any of the, I don't want to call them, I guess the local successful companies, things that jump to mind, like OtterBox? We've had Jen from Tilt here a few times. Or like the companies that are really kind of like iconic for Fort Collins, being like, here's something that was started here, and you can kind of point to as being like, hey, it's very possible to grow a successful company in Northern Colorado. Is there anything like any connection there? Like how do you engage the local, what were startups that are now like successful companies?
Well, not with the Institute directly, but historically, CSU through things like the, Blue Ocean and other, concepts that have come on historically. There's been a huge and tight partnership, between those startups from New Belgium to OtterBox and CSU, but, not with the Institute specifically. And that's what I think we're starting to try to learn from, what's gone on with Otter and with New Belgium and with other startups in the community, and learn from them, bring them on board, have them be a participant of some of the programs that we have going on, so that we can all learn from each other and become better, going forward. So yeah, good question. Yes.
So one of the, when I compare CSU and then my involvement with it off and on over the years with other universities like MIT and so on, one of the glaring differences is with the other universities, you have a more global connection, more global network. You find out how things are being done in India and in Europe and in Asia and so on. So you get this world view that when we get into our area, we tend to be a little insular. There's a bubble around the way that things are done around here by comparison. So one of my questions is, how does your institute provide that kind of global perspective and global connections for new entrepreneurs? Because depending on what it is you're doing, I mean, you could be global from the first day if you're doing services over the internet, or even if you're designing products and designing solutions, then there's the issue of how you get them into other markets. So how does the Institute deal with that kind of global perspective of business these days?
Well, that's a great question. I think it's one, every venture is struggling with, right? I mean, how to take it from local to global. So, I think to answer your question, maybe indirectly, I mean, we attempt to provide tools and resources for them to possibly expand their, markets into kind of a global market. But, generally, right now, we have a small team. We're a new organization to CSU, and we're really focused on, local contributions and local ventures and local organizations, local startups. But those individual startups and ventures, may be global in nature, and we definitely provide mentoring to help them, understand maybe markets overseas, et cetera. But right now, we're really locally focused, if that makes sense. So, yeah, that's a good question. I don't have a good answer for you. So I kind of made one up, and I apologize.
We've got Ariana here, and then I've actually got.
Yes, Ariana?
So thanks for this update. I remember when the entrepreneurship was just, or the center, whatever it's called, Institute for Entrepreneurship was just being started in like a team of 1 or 2. And so it's pretty amazing to see how much like it's expanded and the different areas that it serves. And I saw that there's a couple of different programs for K through 12.
Yes.
On there, and I have a very precocious daughter in 3rd grade, and so I'm like, what are these programs? Because I'm aware of a lot of high school focused entrepreneurship programs, but are there ones for elementary too? Like, what's the opportunity here?
They really start to get exciting at middle school. Really,
Okay.
yeah, elementary is even though it's called K through 12, that's a little bit of a misnomer. They really start in earnest with middle school and some of the programs. And we actually have kind of this venture validator concept for middle school students. We just took the middle schools and high schools in Fort Collins. There were 100 students that came to the Nancy Richardson Design Center on CSU campus and attended basically a day's venture validator. Took customer discovery. They went out and talked to customers about their, what products they were interested in kind of creating. And I mean, there was so much great energy. And we took them all the way through the pitch to say, what's your product, and they created prototypes, et cetera. So that, that particular kind of concept applies to all age groups, but truly from a K through 12 perspective, it really starts in middle school where we really start to get those. And so we'll, we advertise and promote, on the middle school and high school, campuses for these programs. So when your daughter gets to that level, have her look out for those types of programs coming up at CSU, because I think they're going to be more numerous, because they were very popular. And the kids just love it. I mean, they just have a great time.
Yeah.
Especially creating prototypes, because rip things, or glue things together and, you know, create all sorts of wonderful products. It's a lot of fun to watch.
So mine is a feedback, question, suggestion, I think, all
Yes.
wrapped into one. But I think as a coach, I'm looking at this and going, oh, that doesn't apply to me. But in reality, like the things that you're talking about, it's kind of what Ariana was presenting on, like defining what it is that we do. However, it doesn't feel like we fit in necessarily because we're not creating a product. We don't have a software as a service. Like, so my question, and they're tied in suggestion, is I think you have these several times a year. Have you considered having, like, this is a product-based one, like this is for businesses who have product-based ideas. This is for people who have software-based services, and this is the service-based group.
I think that's a great suggestion. Right now, we don't. It's just, you know, the validator for, you know, whoever wants to join us, you know, free to go through the process of creating a venture and understanding their target markets, et cetera. So great suggestion, and one that maybe we can evolve into. Because right now we fill a room, and virtually, we're also very popular with this program, but I don't think we've come to that level of, you know, kind of segmenting our market, if you will, our customer market for the program. Good suggestion, though. I like it.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
Okay, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for filling in for us,
Absolutely.
because we're right on time.
Awesome.
Perfect. All right, who has a win? Who has a resource that we need to know about and who needs help? Oh, you have a win there in the back?
Yeah, so last week I presented here, and then Thursday did my pitch, and I have to say, I don't remember the pitch itself. I got good feedback. And so I wanted to say thank you for everything that you guys provided. It was very helpful. I was scared to death. I have to say, I feel like I was back in high school. But it was fun, and it was a really valuable experience. And the whole week with the Hyper Accelerator at RBC was just a, I'll say, mind-boggling experience. And Denny, I know you know what it's like. Of course, Mike's there too, so it's just you're drinking out of a fire hose, literally, and you know you can really swallow. But it was really powerful experience, and I really appreciate all the support you guys have provided as Peter and I've been getting this company going. So
Yeah.
I made it through. I didn't die.
You did. You're still, and she's still alive. There's a theme today.
That's right.
And they survived.
And just a little build on that too. We got a signature from the Chamber of Commerce, Fort Collins Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
Signed so they're on board and moving forward. So
Yeah,
we're,
that's official.
people are starting to make it happen, so.
Yeah, awesome.
I'll go in to share. So I mentioned Rosabella Consulting's 11 years old this year, and I only worked really part-time in my business for the first 8 months this year, and my revenue's up 20% from my best year. I think I might keep working part-time.
My
Seems
clients
to
have
be
found
working
that
well
that
for me.
seems to work. Yes, it's true. Rich.
I am teaching my first class this weekend, and I already have 6 people signed up for it.
Way to go.
Some help. I am also in the job search too. Looking for something that I can kind of do as I build my business. And I've resigned from my my current job for my health and wellness.
Okay, so give us an idea of what it is. Like, are you shoveling out stalls, like horse stalls? Or like,
Wow.
I know, that was my point.
Yes, very good shoveler and.
That support your health and well-being.
Yes. No, for my own kind of like wellness, I'm wanting to move on and was dealing with some health things, and I want to look at things like sales and coaching and that kind of thing.
So you want to help somebody else with their sales and coaching?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, so that helps people know who to refer you, because I do hear about people who need shoveling.
Oh, of course.
Just saying.
Throwing it out
I
there.
mean,
And what's the class? Just out of curiosity.
oh yeah, it's on how to live your richest life. Not just financially, but also like rich like chocolate.
Rich like chocolate?
Rich
Ooh.
like chocolate.
Are you gonna have nuanced chocolate there too?
That's how he
They're-
got 6
they're
people to
delicious.
come.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
If you come, I'll give you.
If anyone hasn't been, nuanced chocolate here in Fort Collins is
Yes.
phenomenal.
So decadent.
You want?
There's a resource you need to know about.
Yeah.
Really.
You
It's a
need,
great
you need
gift
some
too.
self-care, go to nuanced chocolate.
Self-care.
Such a good gift.
It's you give the gift to the person that you're like,
And
I
yes,
don't
the
really
cheese
know.
shop right next door is also.
Right, yeah. Like they have everything they want.
I can't go to one without going to the other.
I know,
Yeah.
same,
That's right, they're
same.
You're living the rich life, the
Yeah.
cheese and then the chocolate.
Well, you have
Go
your
around the
meal and
corner.
dessert, I mean, really.
Oh,
So I'll have an ask for help, not immediately, but I will be looking for, to do some customer interviews or potential customer interviews, help us with our MVP, kind of getting some direction, so probably short, like 5 to 10 minutes, but if you're willing to talk to me.
About
What
what?
makes someone a potential customer for you?
Potential customer, so if you were an adult who is looking for friends or has experience looking for friends or struggling with your existing friend network, that's who we're looking to talk to.
I have a good person I would put you in contact with, because she wants to start like moving to a new city.
Yeah, and
That's
if
what-
you're
And that's
relocated,
that's a hard one to make friends.
if you
so-
feel like you've fallen out of contact, friends that you are asking yourself why, like, why haven't I talked to these people in, 6 months or whatever, like, basically anybody that's, post-college is really what we're looking
That lonely post-college time.
for. Not even lonely, just like in general.
Like if you thrive.
I was in graduate school. That was so much fun.
Jesse or Beth, I didn't see. I saw the hand go up.
Oh,
Okay, Jesse.
I would like ask Ben, when you do the interview, do you need a videography? I can provide a service.
Videographer.
Videographer, not yet,
Not yet.
not yet.
Okay, let me
Very,
know
very
anytime.
early. At some point, we probably will.
Just ask.
So Chris, who is pretending like Dane, has hands up.
Oh, thank you, Denny. Hi, Chris. who's
I am,
pretending to
I
be-
am, I am pretending to be Dane, yeah. Oh, I just wanted to throw out a couple of wins. I just finalized branding for the Pride Celebration Garden in Allegan, Michigan, which was really fun and a cool project. And this is usually the slow time of year for my kind of work, but I just got 2 new clients, so things are rocking. Yay.
I didn't know that branding had a slow time of year. I guess holidays. Yeah, nobody. does
Yeah,
anything.
during the holidays, it tends to be pretty slow.
That's true. I don't know why anybody works during the holidays.
Thanksgiving, New Year's.
That's just a personal opinion.
go up and.
You're how very European of you.
Any other wins, resources we need to know about, or help? Requests for help?
We're looking for software developers and potentially part-time tinkerers. We have a lot of hardware to set up. Anybody high school or above. It's not hard work, but it's, there's a lot of it. So, yeah, that's for Visible Hand. We have a couple of needs in that area right now.
Installing
Get
padding
someone.
in the rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no padding.
Do you have somewhere that we want to send them as far as like contact or website or anything like that?
Website is fine, or just me right now.
Visual
Yeah.
hands,
Visible Hand.
Visible Hand.
Visible Hand.
visible.
James might have a question. You did
And
have his hand
Natalie's.
up.
No, Natalie's not. It has to be in the top left. James, do you actually have your hand up?
What's up with the ones in the middle?
I don't.
I
It's
did,
Zoom.
but I thought we were running out of time. So if we've got a minute, resources, I'm watching a documentary called 8,600 Feet. And I highly recommend it. It's about mountain biking, and you don't have to be a mountain biker to appreciate it. But the guy's story that is doing this epic ride in Utah is just it's the story of being a startup founder, basically. So he's riding a 26-mile downhill ride, which normally takes about 10 hours to go down. And he decides to do it on a mountain bike, except that he goes up, and he's doing it in one day. And it's pretty insane to watch.
10 hours to go
Giving me,
down.
like anxiety just hearing about
Yeah, I know, right? This is where the
Same.
side comes in, like, oh wait, I don't have to do that.
What's the name again? What's
Not
the
my
name?
story.
8,600.
What?
8600.
Go off the road, it can take us 15 minutes.
All right, well,
That's the expressway.
About that time.
oh, one more, make it quick.
Yeah,
One more.
I'm looking for a character to do a documentary film. So if you or your client have interesting story, like interesting character, that means have beginning and have some struggle, challenging how to overcome and get some result or the accomplishment, we can talk about that. That's one of my, because I joined a film school called Art of Documentary. So I need to have like 5 different stories to choose one to do it. So,
I might take you up on that.
yeah.
I mean, great, you'll make a testimonial for me?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Hero's journey.
The
Hero's journey.
hero's journey, yeah,
hero's
exactly.
journey. Yeah, not just hero, but some ordinary people have extraordinary stories. We can do that. Yeah, we can work together.
Awesome, cool, all right, thank you. Okay, well, that's all. We are not meeting next week. If you wanna meet here, bring your own coffee. I will not be here to usher you back to your seats. And are we good on presenters through December, or do we have one slot open?
No, we should be good. Hi, sorry, Natalie, the sort of in and out person here. Unless people cancel out again, hopefully not. Because it's been a little bit rocky towards this end of the year. We should be set for the last Wednesday and then the 2 Wednesdays in December, but I am keeping a close eye on that. So we're gonna start working on January pretty soon, kind of waiting till after Thanksgiving to start working on that, so people have, between the holidays, so we get started with you folks at that point. But unless cancellations, so keep your ears open just in case I reach at last minute. But normally we're set.
Thanks, Natalie.
And we're back here still in December?
Yes, we're here through the end of the year.
In
Yeah,
January.
and in December, no, there's only 2 meetings, with the 7th and the 14th, because we're not meeting the last 2 weeks in December. So there's really only 3 Wednesdays, quote unquote, left before the end of 22.
Got it. All right, well, we'll see you back here after Thanksgiving. Have a lovely Thanksgiving and turkey and all the delicious.
Great holiday, everybody. Thank you.